salary the number one requirement people are talking about, or is it a broader
For the younger
conversation?
generation, it is.
Is it?
Yeah. For the younger generation, salary is a big deal.
Yeah.
And they've no problem in sharing it neither. Whereas me and you, we might not really discuss it.
How important is culture from an HR perspective? And
It's the most important thing.
okay, why do you say that?
Because
Welcome to the podcast. Today we are joined by the usual John Van and Nia Wells. We're also joined by a very special guest, Sally Evans, who's the Director of People here at Spectrum Group. We talked about lots of things people related. So we talked about why recruitment and retention at this point in time is the most difficult that any of us can ever remember. We talked about quiet quitting and why people actually quit in their head, sometimes a long time before they actually quit in real life. And we talked about difficult conversations. And whilst they can't be avoided in the world of business and the world of people, actually, what can you do to prepare yourselves to make them as easy and as effective for the business and for the people as possible? So, if you like what you're hearing and what you're watching, then please, as usual, like, subscribe and share. And with all that said, welcome to Tomorrow's Workplace today. Welcome to Sally Evans. Sally, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do at Spectrum,
yes,
if that's all right.
I can do. Thank you for having me. And
Pleasure.
inviting me. My new title is Director of People.
Wow.
Sounds very flash. I was the head of people and operations, and I
You got promoted.
ditched that bit, yeah, and then wanted to focus primarily on people. So yeah, I look to recruit. I look to keep a steady ship. I like to keep everybody happy, engaged. Lots of happy campers. I deal with a lot of problems, a lot of people-related problems day to day. Every day is different. So it was a bit of a leap of faith for me coming into this type of role because I was from an audit background. Everything was very black and white. So yeah, I'm not the most politically correct HR person that you'll ever come or meet. But I do throw the odd grenade, keep it very colourful, lively, but it works.
It does work. And
It seems to work.
you're part Director of People, part agony aunt, I
Yes.
always think, for the business. Is that?
Yeah, and the first ever sort of representative of people on the board of directors, which was a big thing. And it's great for me to, people over profit and people for this, and just to invest a little bit more around training, progression. I think with like the health scheme, things that we're doing, a lot of incentives, just constantly looking of ways to improve and invest in people.
Been it's a challenging start to your kind of career here, isn't it? Because we've had a pandemic, and then now we're at the outside of the pandemic, and like getting recruiting.
Yeah,
it must be. You said that a bit earlier.
I came in. I think I did just short of a year, and then we were full blown thrown into a pandemic while I was doing like a HR qualification as well. So I was working. I was working a lot of days. But constantly in touch with people. So it wasn't an ideal way to start. So I learned the hard way.
Good. So talk about recruitment actually. So because it's tough at the minute, isn't it? Recruiting, I know personally. So I guess talk to us a little bit about your experience of recruitment in general, but what we're doing as Spectrum to try and recruit and then also actually retain talent once you've got them through the door as well.
I think a lot of what we do is unknown and people aren't really sure about us or us as a business or us as what we do. And people don't fall in love with us until they come in and see us and meet us. So that's shifted. But I think through the pandemic, again, the market's changed so much now for recruitment, and it is an employees market. They can pretty much dictate salaries, benefits, what they want, where they want to be. And it's shifted. The power is very much in their hands. So we're constantly looking. Even sometimes when we don't have a vacancy, we're looking for talent and new talent coming through all the time. So I put in my board report, I think last month, that we've cast our net wider through different routes, like Hull University, through the colleges, careers offices, even with the schools. Because I think even with the campus where we were restricted to getting into schools and telling people about us, it was very, very difficult. So instead of just working with recruitment companies or going off our own word of mouth, I've tried to look at different pots, like Rondeering and different projects, Humber Internship Programme, things like that, just to let people know who we are.
So a lot of them are getting young talent into the business and then kind of developing our own. Is that fair?
I think that is fair. I think we're constantly looking for new talent coming through, not to replace but to grow. And that's really, really difficult. But the mixed bag of generations that we've got right across the workforce at the minute, in each and every department, we've got the more mature generation.
Thank you.
Just in case you weren't aware.
And then we go right across to the younger, and I think that's such a healthy mix, a real healthy mix, with the generation X. Is that what I am? Am I X?
I lose track of it. I should know
Gen
probably.
Z.
But yeah. Which one are we, Neil? You'll know. We're millennials.
You're millennials, yeah. So I'm the Generation X.
Right.
You are as well.
All right. Do I thank you.
It's all right.
Come into that category.
Yeah.
Your baby boomer.
We're the ones that are trying to find that happy home work life balance. We've never actually found it.
I was going to say we're still searching, aren't we?
We've never actually found it, but we're still looking.
Yeah.
But we also had the best of the growing up in the 90s, going out, clubbing, pubbing, the social interaction. You could go missing for 3 days with no mobile phone and you'd think it was fine. Yeah. Whereas now, it's a different generation and a lot of it is less people, more technology. Levels of communication are different as well.
That's interesting.
Expectations are different.
So explore that a little bit more then. So what is the new generation about? What are the key characteristics of the new generation, do we think?
I think the new generation, there is a bit of a sense of expectation. A lot of it is communication through a phone instead of to a person. Sometimes people forget how to hold a conversation, which can be difficult. And even though confidence levels are oozing via a tablet or a phone, they might not want to look somebody in the eye and say what a problem is, or it's very, very different. So that comes back to a lot of what we do with training, development, a lot of the faculty, the junior runner stuff. All of that contributes to the softer skills.
So that's great. So explain that actually, faculty and junior runner, because I think they're both two really, really good initiatives.
So for the younger generation, Gen Z, I've got that right. Once they come in, they might sort of want to hide in their own role, comfort zone, and familiarise themselves with the immediate team around them, but then not really be sure about what else goes on or what else is happening. So I suppose Jane always uses that word cohort, and she's absolutely on the nose with the cohort of faculty with the younger generation coming through, and it's to get to know other departments, what everybody else is busy with, what everybody else is doing, and they feed off each other and communicate together, and they'd go off and do a project together. So how to make an improvement to the business, something that we're doing day to day from an outside sort of point of view or a different pair of eyes, they could find an easier way of doing something, which has been proven.
I do think, what have I been here, 6.5, coming up 7 years? And the one thing I've always thought we as a company has been really good at is training, but also around, like you say, getting people to get more experience in other areas. So there's more holistic understanding of the business rather than I'm in sales and I have no idea what finance are doing or what the engineers are doing or whatever. And I've always felt that actually is one of our sort of calling cards, if you like.
Yeah.
That actually we are more about everyone getting an understanding of the whole rather than just, the department, if you like.
Definitely. I think the onboarding helps with the new starters. People that come in, they'll spend time with each team, each department, and that's scheduled and arranged before they've even walked through the door. So they know that that's going to happen. But that takes time and commitment from department heads and, it is time consuming. But we invest heavily in that. To make it work and make them feel more comfortable and familiar with the bigger picture.
This is Matt. Matt is a finance director, and this is Matt's team. Day after day, they trudge through endless stacks of paperwork, like mindless zombies. But luckily for Matt and his team, things are about to get a lot better. Since Spectro has digitized their documents, there's no need for physical copies and duplicates to clutter up the office. And with a fleet of Spectrobots to take care of the mundane, Matt's team have changed the game. Don't waste the potential they've got. Get them a robot with Spectrum. Tomorrow's workplace today.
So I want to go back to how things have changed in terms of, you say it's become an employee, let me get this right, employees market. Mm-hmm. And I completely agree with you. Why do you think that is? Because I remember not that long ago it was very much an employer's market and people were banging down the door to get a job. It's not like that anymore, is it? No,
because we've got people that can earn a pretty good salary sat at home in the PJs, on the laptop, not really needing to get in a car or drive to an office.
You should talk about you, Neil.
I started to look at him. I looked at Neil and I said that. We have people that earn a pretty good salary in the PJs. Yeah, as I said, I'm not the most, politically correct HR person. But yeah, you do that.
Yeah, to be fair, it definitely changed. Pre-pandemic, I was doing 40,000 miles a year, and after that, I'm probably, if I do 5, probably coming back as far as to the office. But yeah. I'm now selling nationally, and it's all via Teams and from my back bedroom. Although it is set up as a proper office, I mean, my PJs, maybe in my shorts. The whole weatherman thing or whatever, news presenter, shirt and tie with my shorts.
So do you think that's what's opened it up then? The fact that people can work nationally, globally, in the back office nowadays and not having to go
definitely. I think we were pretty much fast-tracked into this road of where we're all told we would be working at home and we didn't have a choice. And it was pretty much suck it up and deal with it. Make sure you've got the right equipment, that you're kitted out, you've got everything that you need. We were doing home worker assessments, additional health and safety, looking after everybody. Yeah. But now I think when I say it's an employees market, if we're trying to cast the net wider, further afield or to look for new talent, we're up against other businesses not so far away from where we're located, and it's a constant review of salaries, benefits, looking at benchmarking to make sure we're not a million miles away, that we're on par or we're striving for this employer of choice that we want to be, we want to stay that, and want to keep this banner of.
It's affected nearly every department, because historically maybe a central services function like HR, like IT, like finance would have been at an office, and salesmen, I guess, has been regional salesmen on the road. I think that transition's been probably easy, but then for some of the central functions, you still get. I mean, we talk to finance directors all the time, and half his team are now working from home 2 or 3 days a week because it fits with their lifestyle and childcare and other bits and pieces. So they're processing invoices from home, and it's like previously that would have been unheard of. They would have had to be in the office. So it has affected not just obviously our department; it's affected every department. And like you say, it's like having those conversations. I bet. Yeah, 9 times out of 10 they're asking about working from home policies and all that type of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you mentioned salary there. Is that when we're looking to recruit people in a tough market, is salary the number one requirement people are talking about, or is it a broader
For the younger
conversation?
generation it is.
Is it?
Yeah. Right. For the younger generation, salary is a big deal.
Yeah.
And they've no problem in sharing it neither. They all want to talk about it and share it. It's a common thing. Whereas me and you, we might not be bothered.
No.
Or want to, not really discuss it. But the younger generation, it's a big deal.
And
it's the first thing that they ask about.
Sorry. Do you, because the couple of things I want to ask is, one, first thing I want to say is that I saw something on LinkedIn last week, or it might have been over the weekend, where it was for a new financial controller. And they were straight out of university, so no business experience per se, no experience of going through like audits, things like that. And they wanted to kick off salary of 65 grand. and the comments that I saw down below were along the lines of, well, actually, for £65,000, I'd like you to have all of this experience, and you can't have it because you're only just out of university type scenario. And they, and it was like, well, all right, well, I'll go and find someone else that will pay me £65,000.
Part of me thinks that, again, you look at what a university does, they're trying to get people on a course, and they get paid to get bums on seats to get on a course. So I'll be intrigued to see what they tell them to get them on the course. Oh yeah, by the time you've done this course, you'll be able to get X in the marketplace. And we see, and again, they might skew that towards London and then forget that there's the world outside.
Yorkshire exists.
We get it all the time.
But the other thing, Sally, that I wanted to ask was, so when we're putting roles out there, what's the sort of level of uptake, if you like, of people wanting, because every one of my clients that I'm talking to around recruitment, they're all saying, they just can't find people, can't get hold of them, and some of them, might be looking for like 20 technicians or whatever. And, some are now being innovative and going, do you know what, I'm going to look further afield and offshore and see if I can sponsor people to come in and help, because they might have the skills, but they might be in another part of the world that actually they want to come over to the UK, etc. And that's because there isn't the UK or British feet on the soil that are there looking for a job.
Yeah, it's peaks and troughs. You could have a mass influx of applicants over like a bank holiday weekend, and then you might get, say, 30 new applicants. You think, and then nothing for 2-3 weeks, and it goes really quiet, and you think, and then you start to review stuff and look at it, and then that's when I start speaking to the recruiting manager to say, cast your net wider. Would you look at a grad? Would you look at an apprentice? What's the flexibility around that? With the in-house resource and support that we've got, how much are they willing to adapt or adjust or tweak it slightly?
As a recruiting manager, it's about being flexible in it, isn't it? If you can't get somebody with 5 years experience, can you get someone with 2 years and develop them, or a grad and develop them? It's taking those compromises, I guess. It is,
and some recruiting managers are more proactive than others when it comes to contacts. LinkedIn's been a great tool for us as well, in addition to the website and the socials and stuff that come out from here. The employer referrals, we've got some corkers from the employer referral scheme, which works.
Yeah.
People just need a little nudge and a reminder that it's still there. But that's worked.
I think, tapping into networks. There's 60 people in this business, and every one of them knows other people that work in businesses. That I think that's access to a huge pool of talent if you can use it well, which we're starting to do.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I want to talk about culture and I guess HR's involvement in culture. So how important is culture from an HR perspective? And
it's the most important thing.
Okay. Why do you say that?
Because this culture could be like Marmite. It'd be either love it or hate it. It'd either be for you or not for you. But how do you know until you've walked in through the door to see or sample it? So the environment, the culture, the people all contribute towards that. And every day is different. So sales, when it's the beginning of the month, it's all eyes down and bingo and it's quiet. You could cut the atmosphere with a knife because it's tense or it's busy. So it varies. Yeah. But with the different personalities that we've got working in here, they all bring something different. Sometimes it's relaxed, sometimes it's very, very busy, high-pressured, and weirdly, we've all sort of adjusted and adapted to that, and we roll with it. That's not everybody's cup of tea. So I think more recently, particularly some of the support vacancies, we've been doing like trials, half-day trials, or somebody to come in and see us, and just look around and listen and ask questions and listen to the calls, talk to a few of the engineers, talk to a couple of customers and just get a bit of a feel for it. And they might say, no, you're all right, that's not for me.
Yeah.
That's not for me. Whereas others are like, love it, can't wait to get there.
Is that a new thing, Sally? Because when I left college, I was offered an apprenticeship, didn't have a clue what the apprenticeship was about. It was printing. I was like, all right. And they said, well, come in for a day. And, obviously a very long time ago, Steve, thanks for that. But I found it really, really helpful because I got a bit of a feel for the place like we're doing now. And is that something that you suggest to the potential, employees?
Yeah.
Just to say, just come in for a taster and
come and see us.
And what's there generally? What do you get? Most people saying yes.
They can't wait because they think, well, they're not committed. Then they've not signed anything. They've not bitten off more than they can chew. They don't feel worried. It's just a visit.
I think it's brilliant. I think that.
Some of them have their mums waiting in the car park, and I'm saying, get your mum in for a brew. Don't leave her sat outside. Invite her in because to the younger, I've now rattled on about generations a lot, but to parents that have got kids that are just finishing A levels or going to college or uni and they can't decide if they want a job, or it's a big deal. They need to know where they're going. So trying to be inclusive. We've got nothing to hide. It's all very upfront and this is us. And you either love it or you won't.
Yeah.
The trial thing, I think, just opens the door a bit. And
I remember my trial.
Lee went, but you're still
Lee
here.
went, just go out with Adrian. It'll be all right. You just go out with Adrian. It was snowing. And I was like, what we're doing there, Adrian? He was like, all right. I hope you got a big, thick jacket. What? And we just went on one of the industrial estates and just straight in at the deep end, just knocking on doors. And to be fair, my ego took a bit of a bruising, but you're right. I'm still here. I'm nearly 10 years in, and it's it was good because I learn by doing. Most people do, to be fair. So just throw it in, see how you sink or swim to a certain degree. But I remember that quite vividly. and again, it was probably the hardest day, and actually it got a lot better and a lot easier from there. But I think the culture has definitely changed. There was a big shift when we moved premises because it was a very 90s office into a big fancy open plan. That changed. That
opened it out.
Opened it out. Again, there's a bit more of a draw. It's a lot more visible where we are as a company, as a brand as well, just getting that out there. And I think we are actively trying to re-educate our customers and the marketplace. So we're not just a copier business. It's like we've been here for a long time, but if we embrace technology, manage technology services, and especially what we're doing with the digital stuff, it's a lot more. And when you're trying to attract young talent that are a bit more sort of technology-led, as you say, they're more or less born with an iPhone in their hand now. It's kind of...
and that's changed the way people communicate.
100%, yeah.
So especially with the pandemic thrown in, people are thinking, well, I'd just rather stop at home.
Yes.
And not need to go in there. And I'm saying, come and see us.
Yes.
Come and see us. And it makes all the difference.
It does. How have you, because I think you've influenced the culture since you've been here. I mean, I've only been here 18 months, but I guess how have you done that? What have you done to try and to influence the culture of the organisation?
Is that in a good way?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, yeah, hugely.
Yeah.
I think I've got no, what's that thing that Rob said to me? Is it seek
Forgiveness.
Seek forgiveness rather than ask permission.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I've done.
Okay.
So I've just gone in doing what I think needs to be done, and I've sort of told them about it after, which hasn't been easy. But I think if you're upfront and honest, and you can have sometimes difficult conversations with people where you've nothing to hide. And I think a lot of it is around engagement and the cross-working of departments to build up a bit of mutual respect and understanding. Having said that, I'm thinking of you being thrown off the edge of a boat last Monday. So this time last week, Neil was getting thrown off the side of 40-foot catamaran into the River Humber because he was the only person from sales there. So he had support and all the PS going, right, this needs to be you. You're going to volunteer to do the man overboard. And he was like, all right. But they all loved it because they were like, oh.
So did you actually go in?
He's heading for the water.
Yeah, they were trying to dunk me, but I think I was about that far off. But it was, the Humber surprisingly was a bit warmer than I thought it would be.
It's the fact that he took on for the team and all the support engineers thought it was great. Still, he's in there. But I think that helps break down barriers as well.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. If I have done that, then that's great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's stuff like ice cream vans turning up on a Friday afternoon that you've organised. It's those little
things,
little
isn't it?
things,
The little add-ons,
Yeah.
pizza ovens,
Yeah.
and well, it was like the health scheme.
I was just about
the cash
to say
plan
that.
and
Absolutely.
stuff, where people get stuff back. The physio
Yeah, I've used
coming
that.
in
Yeah.
for the engineers, they thought that was amazing. They all loved it. It's not always easy to get the board to agree to this stuff, but I usually sort of say, "I've done this. What do you think?" And it's like, "Yeah, I'll just get on with it. So I do.
Good, and it's made a massive impact.
I think there's a big transition between sort of when you're moving from a smaller company and actually having someone like yourself in a full-time role as a HR, because HR is one where it generally gets passed to someone and they're wearing multiple hats, and it's like, oh yeah, you'll do a bit of HR, and just having someone to talk to, actually, having your door open and being able to come in and get things off your chest, or what's on your mind. And I know I've come to you and asked for about certain courses, and I'm well into my personal development and things like that, and you've backed me on things like that, so that's always good, because for me, and we did the insights thing last week, which I found was really good, because again, different personality types, different colours. Me being very yellow, I'm a people person, but I'm always wanting to better myself and that type of thing, which the company's obviously backing, and a better me, ultimately I'm better at my job. So
That's something else the newbies see of when we've got people coming in. They see the bricks and the juggling balls and they go, "What's that?" And it just triggers that conversation for, I suppose, the culture again comes to the Spectrum language that not everybody's familiar with.
No.
And they think, "Well, what's that?"
I was going to say, so for people that aren't familiar with Insights, can you just give us a 10-second, 30-second, what is it?
he's grabbed that little bricks there.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a psychometric like tool,
Is that
if you
right?
like,
Yeah.
that determines, it sort of looks under the bonnet a little bit as to how somebody functions, communicates, how somebody could come
Preferences.
up again. Yeah.
So different kind of characteristics of people. So I'm green, then blue, then these two get probably that and that, I think, in terms of preference. So
Is your,
what are you?
is your shiny happy yellow last?
Probably, yeah. I'm secretly miserable.
Yes, that's me. So, funnily enough, in sales, people person.
Yeah, bright yellow.
Yeah, the others.
I thought you would have been red actually at the top.
Honestly.
Really?
Yeah. I thought you would have been red because you're like bosh, bosh, bosh.
I actually
No
think,
messing.
I think I'm more like that.
I don't know.
I
I don't know
was
how I get anything
surprised.
done. I'm
That's
yellow.
me.
I'm yellow green. Involve me, show me you care, then be bright.
Yeah.
Be brief.
So
That's
you're
me.
that.
Yeah.
Is
Brilliant.
that really?
Yeah. This is why me and the FD, I'd drive them up the wall because my attention to detail and my Excel spreadsheet formulas are a disaster.
See, sunshine yellow, positivity and energy and all that good stuff.
Jazz hands in people's faces.
Yeah, but this is what it's good for, isn't it? You're able to kind of see things from different people's perspective because you can talk. It gives you a common language that you can talk around.
Yeah.
Insights.
And business is a team sport at the end. That you need people in all different positions playing that counterbalance. Because I know, for example, when I'm selling with Richard or Josh or whatever, I need the technical skills because we're selling quite a technical solution. And again, it has to connect to different systems. So asking me any of that just goes straight on my head. So I need to bring in the relevant people that obviously know those bits, and can speak their language. Because if you put two techies in a room, literally goes straight on my head. But they're talking a specific language, and you need that level of detail.
Good stuff.
That's running again very soon, by the way.
Is it?
September, yeah.
Am I in that?
No, but a lot of your team are.
Right. Okay. I'll be that.
Yes. do away with the others.
Yeah.
Very good.
We'll have to be that day when they're all in the training.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I wanted to talk about was difficult conversations, actually, because part of HR and people, one of the things that you have to do, whether you like it or not, I guess, is having difficult conversations with people. So I guess it'd be good just to get your view and maybe advice, or given that you've had to do that in your career, how do you prepare for it?
You don't.
You don't?
You know that it's coming, and you know that difficult conversation's brewing, whatever that might look like. But I think because you do care, it's hard. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. And you think about it for weeks afterwards. So if somebody, I'm just thinking, when somebody decided they wanted a complete career change, they didn't want to work in like digital anymore, and they wanted to go and be a car mechanic. There was like the aftercare after that initial hard conversation. I suppose it's just you've got to ask people, if they want to be here and what their end goal is and where they want to be in 5 years. And some people say, well, yeah, this isn't for me. Or other difficult conversations around when business needs change. And that is tough. It's really hard. But I think you have to be very transparent and honest and upfront, which has been my only motto. I never hold back or hide anything or say anything that isn't right.
Yeah.
And I think that's key. But the aftercare bit for me with the follow-up and using, customers, contacts to support and help afterwards, I think are massive. Because they're all people. They're all bringing everything in to work with them. Everybody's got different situations, different circumstances.
Don't envy you at all with that part of your job. But taking it back to early on in the thing and the whole generation X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, whatever they are, do you find it different depending on the generation that you're having those conversations with?
Yeah, like sometimes I think they're going to dread me, like going to see them because they'll think, oh my God, she's here with her crazy yellow personality in my face, and they just want to talk to a screen or a computer. I'm thinking some of y'all guys. But slowly but surely, it's about building up a bit of a mutual trust. And then I can adapt easier, I suppose, to get on that level for how they want to communicate. Or I can enjoy an uncomfortable silence and wait for them to speak, because I know they've come to see me for a reason. So I'll just let them talk and I'll just shut up for a bit and listen.
One of the terms that we touched on before the podcast, which I'd never heard of until this morning, was the idea of quiet quitting, which apparently is the idea that people kind of sometimes quit in their head before they actually quit in real life, and then they just turn off from work essentially.
Yeah, so you can sometimes spot it before somebody's resigned, or if they become very disengaged or uninterested or just not bothered, even through levels of sickness. If somebody's not coming in, if they've always been an office bod and then all of a sudden they're opting to work from home, you can usually spot it when somebody has become disengaged and gone down that road. And then you have a conversation. Are you all right? And sometimes it's not. Sometimes they might be looking for other opportunities. I'm not wanting to tell you, but I just think we just try and sort of help them through that, really.
I think the quiet quitting one, again, there's been a bit of a shift in people's mindset from a point of view of, is work the be-all and end-all, and is there more to life? And some people have shifted completely because they might have gone into that fully corporate ladder and they've tried to work 60, 70, 80 hours or whatever, and they're really trying to progress their career, and then all of a sudden they're going, what am I doing? Am I valued? Is it worth it? And they've started to pursue a hobby, or they've done something else. And I think the other thing that makes it a bit harder is again, working from home. If you haven't got good management structure in place, or if that individual isn't potentially suited to that or self-motivated, they can drift and become disillusioned. And if they're left to their own devices, they meander and go off in a different place.
It's a good point, because you do pick up on stuff when people are in the office. It's probably it is more difficult to do when people are working from home. How do you spot people that are not necessarily engaged or have switched off?
Yeah. Again, I think levels of absence that you could spot where they think, they've just come back from a holiday and then they're off, or that's where the slippery slope of being disengaged strikes, I think, where the heart's not in it. Or it could be something simple like, team dynamics, something might have changed. There might be a personality clash, which happens every day. And it's just about overcoming that. But through things like this, with the training, the culture, the language, chucking Neil off a boat on the Humber.
See, I didn't,
Fair, I would like to have done it.
It all helps.
I didn't realise it had that effect. I quite enjoyed it.
They're all buzzing downstairs.
Was it?
Yeah.
And got to dunk Neil in the Humber.
They're all mega chuffed. It was Neil that cocked it. Oh, we threw him in. We threw the salesman
It's
in.
quite funny.
Yeah. I was like, yes.
So one of the questions I always ask everybody, which I forgot to tell you this, is it's called Tomorrow's Workplace today. So I always think, cast your mind forward 10 years. What do you think work is going to look like different to today? Are there any things that you think will change significantly over the next 10 years from a HR perspective?
Crikey.
Yeah, that was the one you wanted to heads up on.
He's going to replace me with a robot.
I was going to say,
He's going
Sal's
to
going to
stick a
be
robot
managing
in.
loads of robots as well as people.
Yeah. I've been a guinea pig as well for your team,
have?
for the whole digital robot.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot more automation. A lot of the process will be slicker, easier, less jumping through loopholes. With, and I want to see that. However, I think the role of the person with the coaching, the counselling, the additional bit, a robot can't do that. And the engagement with some of the conversations that I have, I'm not even going to go into detail, but it'll blow your mind. The things that, you know, when I say look under the bonnet, some of that will remain, but I think there'll be definitely more hybrid. When I spoke to the beginning about generations, part of that hybrid flexibility aspect needed to be trained to some of the older generation that are drive to the office 9 to 5, and they've got the routine of what that looks like. And this hybrid flexibility bit blew their mind because they were thinking, well, where is everybody? Why is the office dead? Nothing's happening. Why aren't people working? They are, but it looks different. So in 10 years from now, it'll be even more different
So
physically.
picking up on the technology, and more is going to become automated, whether it be bots or whatever. Do you see your role, not your specific, but the HR role or the head of people, director of people, do you see that role being more a coaching, counselling role? Because in essence, all the admin bits that will take a proportion of your time will in the main have gone. And it's more about actually maybe spending more time on the various floors of a building, just going in and say, I'm just going to sit with you today, JV, and, you know, how's it going type thing. Is that where you see it might go more?
That's where this is going. You don't know that yet, but that's where we're heading.
Right.
We're heading towards that with the automation and the admin bits and everything more or less being taken care of. And then the coaching bit where I'd get regular slots with everybody and the time scheduled and it's organised. So instead of just like the VIPs or the appraisals for development and progression, there's like a coaching aspect there as well, which is where we are heading, gents.
And I think that's good. I think that's good from a older generation down to, you know, the younger. Everyone can learn something, and, you know, I've never been too, you know, in my interview, because I was changing from a completely different career to come to work here. It was like, you know, well, what's your view on, you know, it wasn't an ageist question at all, but it was sort of, are you open to learning? And I was like, yeah, I don't profess to be, you know, an expert or like, you know, ace at doing X, Y, or Z. If someone can help me to improve and become better and more efficient and whatever, more profitable, then I'm all ears. So I think that's great that it's coming, because I think that's where technology will allow the people side of things, be it, you know, in HR or training, but also running a division, to actually then spend more time understanding what the, you know, the people in that team or that organisation are doing.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant.
I think I'd like to run like set scheduled recruitment events, not just for one vacancy where we've got somebody coming in for half a day. I'd like to do it across all departments. So if there's a vacancy in sales, finance, support, wherever, we could say we're going to run a recruitment session on Wednesday or whatever. Come and see us. A bit more integration and a bit more of a this is us. But I'd like to get to that with the numbers of these additional pools that we're tapping into now.
Yeah.
So instead of just being a sales campus, I want there to be a campus for support or a campus for finance, and to keep it evolving.
Brilliant. Thank you much for joining us today, Sally. We really appreciate your help.
Thank you for having me.
Brilliant, thanks.